you in here, that you wake up this morning and you came for the first session at the Brendan Bus stage. My name is Martin, I'm from Slido and I'll be hosting this stage today. We have tons of good content here and some really interesting speakers coming in today. And during the talks, we'll be using Slido. So just grab your phones, guys, go to slido.com, put there the code EDL19. And if you have any questions for the speakers that are coming up on the stage today, or if you'd like them to clarify on something interesting that you've caught during these sessions, this would be a really good chance for you to let us know what are your thoughts. And if you have any questions, so you don't need to download anything, just open up a web browser, slido.com with the code EDL19. We're at the Brand and Bus stage today. So now I'm going to introduce you guys to the very first speaker. We have a co-founder of Future Life today, Neil Mortimer, who's coming up on the stage and is going to talk us about real-life experiences at events and how technology can enhance it. So give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to day 2 of Event Tech Live. Apologies about my voice. I was at Web Summit and talking a lot yesterday. So please bear with me. I think Event Tech Live's an event that I've seen grow over the years, and it's great to be up here presenting on this stage because I think that it's of its time. And being at Web Summit previous to coming here, you can really see how this show is growing and how this component of digital marketing is actually coming into the center of digital marketing. And that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today. So yeah, I'm Neil Mortimer, the co-founder of Future Life today. I'm going to talk to you about real-life experiences as in events and how they are actually a technology destiny to inform everything. This is Facebook me, right? I can play the guitar while I skateboard and do tricks. I'm pretty impressive on Facebook. Unfortunately, this is real me. And real me is not quite the same as my digital persona. And I say that is real me. I think the truth would be that used to be real me until I worked something out and got a little bit more motivated about life. Because who I am and who we are as people is not the digital interactions that we have alone. There's more to us. We're not just our likes. We're not just our interactions with online shopping tools. We're more than that. And companies market to us based on our digital interactions. Because people have got real emotion. People have got real connection. They're real people. They've got real eye contact, and there's real feeling. And how much of that can be captured through our digital interactions? Yet, digital marketing strategies based on purely our digital interactions, or mainly our digital interactions. Like I said, I was at Web Summit just before coming here. And something dawned on me when I was at Web Summit, and I'm going to play the video. There's quite a lot of background noise, but hopefully you can hear it. Here we are, Web Summit 2019. 70,000 people, all interacting with each other, lots of face-to-face engagement, lots of people having full sensory brand experiences. Think about an event like Web Summit. You look at all of the stands. The stands are like home pages. Actually, Web Summit is, as an event, is like the World Wide Web. And all of these people are on customer journeys throughout this event. What we need to do is understand where they go and what they do. So, a little bit out there maybe, or maybe not, but an event is like the World Wide Web, right? And every stand is like a homepage. And what I mean by that is, digitally, companies are obsessed with measuring every interaction that we have across our digital interactions. And yet, an event where you've got real people, real emotion, real connections, eye contacts, and what we love events for, all of that is getting missed, or a lot of that is getting missed. And a lot of the companies around here are doing a fantastic job of being able to understand what's happening, but there's way more work to be done. And if you just think about that sentence while I play this next video, You see what I mean?
This session is super important. It's really about how you can supercharge your marketing. It's really about supercharging your business.
At Google Cloud, we want to help you increase the relevance of your campaigns in innovative and powerful new ways.
We are really focused on empowering marketers and empowering companies to achieve the full value of their own customer data, making sure we have an open and secure platform. How do we help you with that full data journey? How can we bring more intelligence to this through machine learning?
Over the last 2 years, we've spoken to literally hundreds of enterprises about their marketing opportunities and challenges. And we hear 3 consistent themes on what they want to achieve: understanding the customer journey across all channels, predicting business outcomes, and personalizing customer experiences.
So I'm the co-founder of Wonder, co-founder of Future Live today, but my background is working for a business called Wonder, and that business has been working with Google for 7 years. And we agree with what Damien's saying there, that the focus around marketing in general is about understanding the customer journey across all channels, predicting business outcomes, and personalizing customer experiences. This is what companies like Google are focusing their marketing effort on currently, because the CIO and the CMO's jobs are joining up, and they are data-driven marketers in the era of digital, in the digital era, and their focus as they move forward is by joining up to have an integrated digital experience across all touch points. See, I don't know how many of you work in events and have sat in round tables like I have with the CMO, and you've got the usual players in the room. You've got the guy or girl that looks after digital advertising, the content marketing team, the website team, the PR influencer team, marketing automation. They're suddenly making a lot of noise, that team, in the room. And you're discussing about the budget and where the budget's going to be spent over the next 12 months, next 24 months. And you know, these guys are getting a large slice of the action, and that's not surprising, because obviously this is of its time with digital advertising. But there's a channel in B2B that the CMO spends more money on than those channels, and that is events. Events are the largest single channel that the CMO spends money on, which is sometimes quite surprising, sometimes not surprising, because we all know that events are very expensive to put on. But all of the decisions that are made on all of the other major channels are mainly focused on data. Not to say they're purely focused on data, but data forms the backbone of the decisions that are made across the other channels. And what normally happens is, if you work in events, that you don't sit at this table for long. You get put like this, moved away from everybody else to have your own conversation, because your conversation's mainly based on experience. And experience counts for everything in our industry, because that's how we've grown to make good gut feel decisions. But what I want to put to you is that we need to evolve the way that we make decisions around strategy of how we do events, and that we need to include data into that decision-making process from the point of conception. And we also need to look at something else, which is very important for events and face-to-face marketing, and that's human centricity. Human beings are more than anything at the center of event marketing. And experience and gut feel are kind of existing skill sets within the market. But data and human centricity, you could be described as new skill sets within the overall market. So what we've got to remember is events are marketing. They're marketing spend. They're there to generate marketing objectives. And when I say they're new skill sets to data and human centricity, they're not new skill sets for Salesforce. Salesforce is the biggest B2B marketing business in the world. Their CRM is used by a huge number of companies, yet Salesforce themselves put events at the heart of their marketing strategy. Salesforce have got over 1,000 events that they do globally each year. At the center of that's Dreamforce, one of the biggest events in the world, 170,000 people. right the way through to a Salesforce World Tour and various other events they do smaller than that. At every touch point across every single one of their events, I don't know if you've ever dealt with Salesforce, but they'll always be like, how much pipe's in the room? And what they mean by that is how much are we going to be able to look at this person across their journey through going from a prospect to a customer? Or how much are we going to turn them from a small customer to a large customer? And they track that, and they track all of their touch points. And they look at an 18-month pipeline, and they measure the success of their events, A/B testing their audience to understand if people go to events, do they spend more money with Salesforce? AWS is another example of data-driven strategy at the heart of their event marketing. AWS have probably got 25 people that work purely on event technology in Seattle. And they use their own technology in combination with great technologies like you see around the room to be able to understand that data and that data at scale. And they're already doing it. And there's some fantastic case studies out there for them doing it. IBM, similarly. IBM is a business that has one of the most prolific AI tools on the market in Watson. Colleen Visconti, who is the director of events at IBM, is a very forward-thinking event marketer. She uses Watson and event technologies in combination to be able to understand the data and to be able to analyze the data and do that at scale. So these businesses in events deliver metrics that matter. They focus on a data-driven strategy, and they take that data-driven strategy forward into every decision that they make across every event that they do. And they have a consistency globally across that. And what we want to do, I believe, is we want to embrace the future of live events today, not tomorrow. Otherwise, businesses like AWS, IBM, Salesforce, they're going to be lightning years ahead of what everybody else is doing. Everybody else doesn't necessarily have the in-house resources and the in-house tools to be able to do it the way that they're doing it, but we need to close that gap. And so that's why we've called ourselves Future Live Today. It's about embracing the future of this industry. Where did the name come from? When we say future, we mean the same points that Damien meant. When we say understand the customer journey, predict business outcomes, and personalize customer experiences. At Future Live Today, we're working towards putting a complete ecosystem around our event marketing from a technology point of view that allows us critically to do single point of reference analytics, work with best-in-class event technologies, many of the technologies that you see around the room, but critically bring them back so we don't have this situation where we've got 10 different silos of event technology. We've got one single point of reference. And that one single point of reference isn't just based on what's happening on site, it's based on integration, like Salesforce are doing, across their CRM platform, across their marketing automation. And so we can understand who that customer is before they arrive on site. We can understand their on-site interactions, and then we can understand how to better market to them post-event. And let that data that we gain from face-to-face that cannot be captured through digital better inform overall marketing strategy. And we also think we can do another thing, which is that we can deep learn about the individual and extrapolate value from that to the entire customer database. And what do I mean by that? Well, inside of our Open API cloud, we can do something where we are looking at the data that's hosted on one of the cloud services, and we plug it into a piece of technology called Neo4j. Neo4j is a graph-based graph database, which allows us to be able to do machine learning at scale, but also allows us to be able to do real-time calls to inform personalization and automation across on-site interactions. And what that can do is that we can extrapolate the value of that. So we deep learn about the individual, and we apply that to the customer database by building like-for-like audiences. How many people came to the event, and what did they do? How many people do we have on our customer database who didn't come to the event? Have we learned anything about the people who've come to the event that we can apply to the people who didn't come to the event? And if you take that approach, you completely evolve what events are, because they're a great opportunity to interact with people on a face-to-face environment, but they're also a great opportunity to deep learn and evolve your overall marketing strategy. McKinsey says that personalization will be the prime driver of marketing success within 5 years. And across every other touch point that we have digitally, we're getting marketed to on a personal basis, on an individual basis. And we have to start viewing our event attendees as human beings. They are individuals rather than a crowd. And there's some great event technologies out there to be able to do that. There's interactive experiences that we can build to work like web analytics do, and bespoke provide information on a one-to-one basis. There's matchmaking tools like Grip that are here today that allow us the ability to personalize and curate schedules. See, what we're trying to do through personalization is finally reach the end goal of what Joe Pine and James Gilmore set out in 1999 when they wrote the book, The Experience Economy. I'm sure you've all seen this before, but that last end result of transformation is what we're striving for. We need events and experiences to deliver a transformed approach that's based on our objectives. So we agree with Damien's points, but there's another thing that's more important that I mentioned earlier, and that's human-centric approach. A human-centric approach is vital because technology is relatively easy. As any CIO will tell you, it's people that are hard. And so at Future Live today, our key focus is that any piece of technology that we introduce must bring increased value to the experience of attending an event for the individual. I think yesterday I attended quite a few sessions. Tech for tech's sake seems to be a massive theme of this event. We've all acknowledged the fact that we need to make sure that anything that we put in front of human beings when they're at events, that they absolutely find value in that, and it adds to their experience, improves their experience, because if it improves their experience, they'll be happier to adopt it, and it will become a core component of an event. So when people host an event without any technology in it, it will seem outdated and out of touch. And the personalized experience that people have, and the upgraded experience people have with technology involved will be evident. Well, live, I'm probably like you, and the reason that I'm in this industry is that I'm a firm believer in live events, the ability to connect face to face. And what live events allow us to do, which digital marketing doesn't, is break past the digital ID and reach the human being. Because like I said, we are not just our digital ID. And as brands are evolving and how they need to be able to gather momentum behind their connection with people, events provide the perfect forum to be able to do that, because you can create an authentic connection. An authentic connection is very difficult to do off pure digital. And it's Future Live today, because we don't want this strategy to be tomorrow. We don't want there to be that procrastination any longer. We want to move and evolve this industry at the pace that Salesforce, AWS, and IBM are evolving their strategy. And so we've put together a business that's part data-driven consultancy, part tech business, and part agency. Data-driven consultancy works off the basis of working to get that strategy right from word go. The tech business integrates technology into an open API cloud to allow us to do single point of reference analytics across every technology that you use, and it gives us the ability to use machine learning to extrapolate that value that we get from it. And as an agency, we believe that, I think that there's a lot of content here around this skill set gap that exists within this market for this discipline. The people in this room are not necessarily the majority of this industry, and we need to find a way of delivering this work for clients and for teams. They don't necessarily have the ability in-house, and so we can provide them the services to operate event technology, to configure event technology the way that it needs to be configured. And we can offer that as agency services, or we can offer that as in-housing into client teams. See, what we need to do is we need to begin the event journey by focusing on the creative, of course, has to be there at the start. But it has to be at the start with the consideration around the tech ecosystem. Because if the tech ecosystem's just added, oh, we've designed an event, we need to put some technology into it, it won't be a considered component of the event design. And then we've got the data-driven strategy. And this all adds up to what I believe are the metrics that matter. Metrics that will mean that events can categorically increase sales, improve brand perception, better understand your customer through face-to-face data, inform better event spend, and critically, and most importantly, deliver transformation for the attendee. Thanks very much. Have we got any questions?
Yep, there is one. Guys, if you still have any questions, feel free to send them to Slido or just stop by the end of the session. But Neil, I'm going to ask you, you've talked about applying results of an individual to the database, so how can you avoid bias over there?
Yeah, I mean, and anyone that knows data knows that you need a lot of data to be able to do what I'm talking about with extrapolating value. I think that it's about embracing the capabilities of what machine learning can do and building towards that strategy of them of events and face-to-face engagement informing other forms of strategy. A small amount of data, a not very informed position. We're restricted in events because we don't have the streams of data initially. I think my point is that that isn't necessarily something that you do immediately and have at your fingertips after one event. But you have to build towards the foundations of how machine learning is going to evolve marketing strategy. And if you put the right parameters in place now, then you'll be able to start applying data extrapolation without bias in the future.
Thank you. We have another question coming from the audience, so let's take that one. Neil, what do you think is the best kind of event for face-to-face data collection?
I think that face-to-face data, it's a good question. I think the face-to-face data collection can happen in any event. You know, I think what I talk about a lot of is what my background's in, which is the B2B corporate sector. And in B2B, you have that perfect opportunity to capture that single point of reference through the registration process. That's not necessarily as easy for other events. However, there are ways that you can do this across any event. You know, it could be a music festival, and that music festival's got an app, and you've got that single point of reference because someone's used their Facebook to log into the music festival. So it can be applied to anything, but I think that the starting point for this is for this strategy where it's going to resonate the most is in the B2B corporate sector.
Thank you. Well, we still have time for one more question, so let's address this one. Will Future Live today help identify and manage the implementation of tech, as this is just a huge pain point?
Absolutely. I think that this is a key component of what we'll do across our agency services. The implementation of technology, the configuration of technology, the data entry component of technology, all of that is very much a pain point. And all of that, teams, especially the teams that sit client side, who are overstretched. I mean, event planners are is it the sixth most stressful job in the world? Because the remit on you is already huge. The pressure on you is already huge. And what we are identifying is that they need support, and the support across that entire holistic approach, which includes the implementation, the deployment on site, the complete management of the service.
Thank you, and thanks for flying all the way from Portugal to give us the talk today at Event Tech Live. A round of applause for Neil.
My pleasure.
Thank you.